Hi everyone, this is Wayne Rivers at Performance Construction Advisors, where we build better contractors. This week I want to talk about a myth. We'll talk about it. Shirt sleeves are shirt sleeves in 3 generations. Before we go there, I want to talk about boot camp. We have a Raleigh boot camp coming up in May, and so we'll put in a link. You can contact Charlotte below, and she'll give you the information to get your next generation leaders lined up for the contractor business boot camp, CBBC. Thank you. Okay. Now, we've all heard this statistic. It's even been attributed to us, although I'll tell you where it came from originally as we go. It's the idea that family businesses don't survive. Is that true? Well, according to James Grubman in an article from June of 2022 in the Globe Law and Business, Grubman says that wealth inevitably dissipates across generations. That's the assumption. But none of it has any proven validity. Okay, so he's myth-busting here. Let's see what he has to say. Now, what about this is important to you? Well, I think this is kind of liberating because we've had this yoke of this statistic pressing down on us all this time that 70% of family businesses, and by family I just sort of interpret it to be closely held, don't survive over time, and we all want our businesses to be sustainable. So I want PCA to be widely successful beyond my working lifetime, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Okay, so where did this stat originally come from? John Ward was a pioneer in the family business consulting industry. And in 1987, he conducted a survey, I guess you might say, among 200 manufacturing businesses in the state of Illinois. So a very small sample size and a very small geographical area. His only success criterion was whether ownership transitioned from the current generation to a future generation. Now, why is that definition problematic? Suppose the family business created a wonderful opportunity to sell. And so somebody came in with deep pockets and wrote them a massive check, and now this manufacturing business is sold for some large sum of money, and they took that money and opened up 5 new businesses, or who knows what. By that definition, the definition Ward used, they did not succeed. You see where that's too restrictive? That's considered a failure. Me selling the Family Business Institute to travelers, to me and to travelers, thank goodness, was anything but a failure. But by this definition, it would have been a failure for the business to continue. Okay, so you understand why this statistic is a problem. Now, going beyond that, Roy Williams and Vic Pricer wrote a book in 2003 called Preparing Heirs. And they quoted the statistic extensively, and they even did a little bit of their own research using some similar restrictive definitions to perpetuate the number. In The Economist, in June of 2001, an article called The New Wealth of Nations, Matthew Bishop used the same statistic. In 2010, Trusts and Estates, Williams and Pricer, in an article called The Future of Estate Planning, reiterated the statistics. In Bridging the Generations, a 2017 book by Williams and Amy Castoro of the Williams Group, so his company, Williams Company, they referred to the statistic quoted in 1983 by Beckard and Dyer. So this statistic that Ward created was seized upon by a fledgling industry to try to create, excitement, buzz around that statistic that you weren't going to survive. Now, one thing that I found in this article by Grubman that was tremendous, and it's the only place I've seen this in any literature about family businesses or construction businesses or closely held business succession, he says something that to me just verifies the message that we've been broadcasting for decades now, it seems like. He talks about conflating ownership succession, wealth transition from one generation to the next. He says that, well, I'll just read it to you. Of the individuals in Williams' study, they said that they interviewed 2,500 people. and 80% had operating businesses. They had closely held businesses, construction companies, auto dealerships, manufacturing companies, you name it. 20% though operated businesses that consisted of cash, securities, and real property. So they're what you might call passive business versus an operating company versus compared to a passive business. And here's what Grubman says: the study problematically conflates family business succession with wealth transition. They are not the same. 4/5 of the families had closely held businesses dependent on strategic planning and family business succession procedures, while 1/5 had investable assets dependent on estate planning procedures. These are very different processes with potentially different rates and causes of success or failure. Hallelujah. Somebody other than PCA is talking about the need for strategic planning and for long-term business succession, and it is very different to transition an estate made up of cash and securities or real estate to heirs than transitioning an active operating company to heirs. Very distinct indeed. So of course Grubman calls for more research in his paper, and why not? I mean, it's really, if you think about it, the closely held business industry is still largely a mystery. There's all kinds of articles about the Fortune 500 companies and big business, and you only have to pick up the Wall Street Journal. When it comes to private businesses, some quite large, there's still a bit of a mystery in terms of what we think we know and what we actually know. So I'd like to hear from you. What do you think? Does this strike you as a disconnect? Email me, please, and I'll be on the lookout for those. This is Wayne Rivers at Performance Construction Advisors, where we build better contractors.